Hello, this is Jason Clement, Technical Sales Manager at Isonas, and welcome to the Certification Training Module. This module is reporting through DB Crystal. So in DB Admin, I'll go ahead and click on Files and Reports, and we can see our different reporting options. We'll jump right in with alarms. Alarms will show us all the alarms within our system within a specified date range. Here I'll just go ahead and I'll choose last week from Monday to Friday. We'll click OK. You can output these to an ASCII file, which you can then input into another system. For now, I'm just going to click No. And it'll pop up this report preview. So here we can actually change the format of how it looks. So I could tile these. So I could say, okay, show me 3 across and 2 down. Obviously, I only have 2 pages of alarms from last week, which is good. I can zoom in, just click on there and zoom in, and it'll show you all the details of each alarm event. From here I could click on print. This will print it straight to the default printer. There are no options. It will just pull up and it will print all the pages within the report. This will actually close out the report. The attendance report is used with time and attendance within Isonas. Please see the knowledge base article within this training module or on our website for further information on this. This provides basic time and attendance information within Isonas itself. Doors and door groups will actually run a report on what doors and door groups are in the system. So if I click on door groups, again, I can output to an ASCII file. It'll basically list all of our door groups and the doors within there and some basic information about the Isonas device that's controlling that door. Groups is our people groups. So this will list all of our people groups and the people within those people groups. The history file, we'll come back to the history file as that's the most complex. Holidays will just list all the holidays that you have within our system. Intervals is an old report within our system. It's really not relevant anymore. People will give you a report of all the people in the system and some basic information on here, the name, the automatic ID, the badge ID, the GUID, etc. If we go to our files and reports, we do the full people report. This will actually give all the information. We can see our ID, our latch interval, and all of our user defined fields. So every piece of information that is listed underneath that person will be here in this report. Permissions will obviously show all of the permissions within our system. And then permission detail will actually give you more detail on those permissions. So if we want to see just the permissions for people in a selected area, a selected group of people, or just one certain person, or we can just run it against all people. And then we can see permissions that are assigned to a selected door, a door group, or again, a selected area. And we can sort it by people and doors, and we can choose an effective date that the report is run against. So if we want to see all the permissions assigned to office employees against all of the doors, and then we'll sort it by people and we'll have the effective date run against today. So we'll click on report and it'll pull up the information of what doors that they have access to and what times they have access to. So if you're looking for specific information on people or a group of people, you can pull that information up. So if we want to see who has permission to the cafeteria door, we'll go ahead and select the cafeteria door, run it against all people. Again, we'll use our effective date today. We'll run the report. And now we can see who has access to the cafeteria door and what dates and times that they have access to those doors. So if you have a question of who has what permission in the system, you can run the report here. Just remember that you can always go into people and then go under that actual person, click on review permissions, and you can see the permissions here as well. Rostering is used for mustering reports when you have tracking zones. We'll have a full training module on how to set up tracking zones and use rostering correctly in the future. Scheduled events will obviously show you all of the scheduled events within your system. Stored events is for use by tech support to see information that's actually inside the devices, and shifts will of course show you all the shifts within your system. Now let's actually take a look at one of our ASCII reports. So again, we'll run our alarm from last week, Monday through Friday. Click OK, and this time we'll actually output it to an ASCII file. So we'll close out of this, and here's our ASCII file. So it tells you what the report is, and then the next line is the information, how it's delimited, and then here's all of the information within here. So again, we can pull this information into a third-party system. Underneath our files and reports, we can set up how these ASCII output options are shown. So we can change the report name for it. We can set up, maybe we don't even want the ASCII option, we can turn it off. We can just turn it on automatically, so it'll automatically run the report, or by default, it'll ask you at runtime. So if you don't need the ASCII report, just go in here and turn it off. That way it'll never ask you again. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine at ask at runtime. Here we can change where our image directory is, and by default it's in C drive, apps, DB Crystal, and then images. We can output our history in an ASCII format if we don't want to go through and run the full history report and then be asked to push out the ASCII format. And we can also take a look at the log file. So this will show the log file for our different supervisors or our IO supervisors. So if you're having an issue with the system, tech support may have you go in here, take a look at the log file, and see what's going on with that. So now let's go back to our history report. We can either go Files and Reports and click on History File, or we can just click on History right here. So our current history tab is what actually shows in the monitoring station. This makes it easy to have a short history file on hand to quickly display in a monitor application. This also works for EasyWeb on a dashboard with your recent history. That time is set here in your current history file. By default, ours is set to 1. I have mine set to 7 days. So it actually shows 7 days in the current history here in the monitor station and in EasyWeb. These delete and delete records prior to are from the old Crystal Matrix program, so don't worry about these. When we click on our History tab, we can actually run that history report against all the history within the system. So I can choose a date range. Here I have when my system was started up on 5/4 to the current date, which is 5/20 right now. So I can just go ahead and click print here and print out the whole report if I wanted to. I can run it against certain people. So I can select a certain group here. So maybe I want to take a look at my office employees. And then I can run it against certain doors. So I may want to just run it across all doors, and then I can run it across certain types of events. So right now I just want to see all the events within the system, so I'll include all. If I wanted to specify which events will actually work, I would click exclude all, and then I could go through and say, yes, I want admits, and yes, I want rejects, and run the report just against that. But I actually want everything, so I'm just going to go ahead and click include all. So now I can go ahead and click print. Again, because I left it at that default, it's going to ask to output to an ASCII file. We'll say no. And then here's all my history from 5/4 to 5/20. And this is just the warehouse employees. So if I needed to, I could specify. So if I was looking for a certain time frame, I may say, okay, show me all the records from last week. But I'm only looking for an actual selected person. So then I can go through and say, okay, show me all the card reads from Jane Doe. And then I would run that across all the doors because I want to see everywhere she's been. And then if I needed to, I can go through here and choose just admits or rejects. But because we're looking at a specific person, that's pretty much all it's going to show. So now we go ahead and click print. No output to ASCII file. And we see that she's basically had 3 card reads last week. Keep in mind that all of these tabs here will be run against the history report. So if I change this date and time, and then I move to people, and then I move to doors, it doesn't reset when I actually move to another tab. So I go back to doors, I'm still looking at that selected door, all people, and that date range. So now let's go ahead and take a look at our ASCII history. So this is actually basically the same history report. It's just going to be set up in an ASCII file output. So here I could set a date. I could select all the people in the report, and I could select all the doors in the report if I want to see a full history report, and then I could click output to ASCII. So here's our full history report that we ran in there, and then we could take this and input it into another system. This was used a lot in our old Crystal Matrix software, but now that we're in SQL, you could actually use third-party reports like Crystal reports and things like that to get more detailed reports that are not available within the Isonas system. The Isonas system will provide most of the reports that you need, but sometimes people do like specific reports in a specific format, and those third-party reporting tools can actually provide easy use to provide those formats that your end user is looking for. Thank you for attending this module. We hope it was beneficial to you. Have a great day.